Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Scene Snobs podcast. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. Thanks for joining in. If you guys are unfamiliar with the show, well, then I appreciate you joining in for the first time. If you are familiar with the show, thank you for watching and listening and supporting. You guys are all awesome. And I would love for you to join the Snob Nation. That's right. Go join us on Discord. We're talking over there. We're hanging out. We're building that community. We'd love to have you be a part of it. That would be super fantabulous. And I hope you guys can do that. And I'm getting this stuff out of the way now because, guys, we have a lot to talk about. But if you also want to follow us and get up-to-the-date news and things like that, you can follow us on our free tier. This will be now serving as our newsletter. So if you join up there, you can hang out. If you want to join one of the tiers, there's plenty of perks available. We'd love to have you. But there's no charge to go over and join the Discord. So go ahead and do that now. And also, if you like the merch, I'm wearing some of it, head over to our merch store, snobsmerch.com. We've just dumped on a bunch of awesome new designs that you guys, I think, are going to love a lot with the mascots that we have, the drink, the popcorn, and the hot dog. I do have names for them. I have not publicly announced those names, but I will. But yes, there's a whole bunch with them over there. New logo, the whole 9 yards. In fact, here is the new logo. That's right. Guys, thanks again for joining us tonight. Appreciate you letting us get out of the way. I want to thank tonight's sponsor, Shopify. Shopify is awesome. They are awesome to help you start your e-commerce business. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to get out there and do it, go check out Shopify, and you can do that down on the link in the description or any of our affiliate links. Want some gummies? Got you covered. You want some BarkBox? We got you covered. We got tons of stuff, so go check them out. But let's get to why we're really here. And that is the Scene Snobs podcast. That's where we talk about movies, TV, geek, and more. And my good buddy, Paul, is here. We're going to bring him on. Producer Paul, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good today, Mick. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. In fact, while we do this, I'm going to leave that up for a little while. So that way, if anybody does want to join the Discord, please feel free to. But Paul,
yes, sir.
I'm excited for tonight's topics.
Me too. I'm ready to throw in some curveballs to you to get you off topic for a little bit, because I think it's something everyone needs to hear.
Okay, let's start there. I want to start with the curveballs. Absurdity galore.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we should totally, within the next couple of weeks, cover at what point do you count a movie into a certain genre? Like how much of a movie needs to be. Don't roll your eyes at me. I'm just saying it's a good topic.
No, that was your fuck up. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to curse people.
Sorry.
I know we've had an influx of like younger audience come in, and I do want to address that before I address producer Paul and what he's talking about, because it's egregious.
It's not.
It is egregious. And I want to hear your opinions either in the comments or go over to the Discord like we're showing below and tell producer Paul why he's wrong when we get into it. But I want to say, like, we've seen an influx of a younger audience come in, so we are trying to curse less. We're not that, we're not usually that dirty. We like being funny and have fun, and not that we're against any of that, but we just like having fun and just enjoying ourselves. We want everybody to be able to do it. So I am trying to curse less, but in this instance, it's warranted, because I do say it's okay to curse if you're using it for the right reasons. And in this reason, I feel it is warranted and right, and that is, you're a fucking idiot. No. So we're in the lab earlier. We do these podcast labs, and Paul and Sturdy and I think Jason was there, and we're all hanging out, we're talking and just kind of rapping about everything. And we start talking about science fiction and our top science fiction films. Oh, I'm calling you out. If you wanted to bring this up, you're going to the beginning of it. And at one point, I'm going down my list, and I go Dune Part 2, RoboCop. And this guy right here has the gall to argue with me to say RoboCop's not a science fiction movie. It's an action adventure film. When was the last time you watched RoboCop?
On TBS or TNT 1 to 2, probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
It's a cyborg cop who I can't. I don't even know I don't know how to argue this. I don't know. This is like literally walking around the earth, like, or just flying around the earth like Superman in space with flat earthers and showing them. And they're still like, you're wrong though. It's like, what do I do here? What do I do? RoboCop isn't a science fiction movie. You don't think I would argue that RoboCop is more of a science fiction movie than even Star Wars is.
I think we discovered something today to where this will be the next, almost similar to like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? Like we just crossed
no
over.
one's arguing this. No one in their right mind. If you somehow find a cult to agree with everything that you're saying right now, I hate them, first of all. Secondly, okay, I never like to do this because it feels condescending, but I feel like, again, this instance warrants it. RoboCop is a science fiction film. And I only say that way because I feel like maybe we lost one of them. Was it the robo? Was it the cop? Was it the science, or was it the fiction?
But you see, where my confusion lies, and I'm not saying you are right, but my confusion is you got the movie Robots, right? Completely animated.
Oh, you're out of here.
You don't constitute that as a sci-fi movie.
Yes, you do.
It's just a family movie.
Okay. Then here's where we argue it, because there are things you can argue whether they're science fiction or not, but you can't really argue at the fact that RoboCop, they're an R&D department. It's ICP. They're a complete technology company.
That's fair.
I don't want to talk about RoboCop anymore because I'm laughing through the tears. So
you're welcome.
I'm gonna need a shower after this episode. So okay, we'll get to the topics. Don't worry, people. I do want to say the Indie Escape Network. Joe, what's going on, buddy? I was on their show the other day. Well, they have a ton of shows. They have a very cool network going on over there. But I was on a show with some lovely people. I called it the Indie Escape Network. I don't know if that was the name of the episode. But yeah, Wendy Zier, who is the one of the hosts, Jamie Hill, Joe, originally they're over at the Indie Escape Network. We were on there talking about Carolina Fear Fest. They were absolutely wonderful. You should go check out their channel. Now I took that break to take a breather, promote a friend, and be able to get level-headed again, Paul, because I still keep thinking about how you keep arguing with me that RoboCop. So do you want to have the ultimate van experience again?
I just want to be.
You're the co-host now.
Right.
I think we remember that the co-host, it doesn't go well.
I already got back problems. Bring it. Maybe
I'm going to fall on you at CFF. That's what I'm going to do. Just going to be like, trust fall, and bang, I'm just going to drop.
Dang.
I can't believe that's an argument. I can't believe we're having that argument.
It's not. You're right. You brought up valid points, and I know you're right.
Are you saying that I'm saying it's not?
No, I'm just stating that I accept you are correct. Okay. I was wrong.
But now I'll go back to you and say, okay, robots. Here's where we can maybe make an argument about robots. If we're making and I really want to have this discussion on it because I'm not making a stance. I don't know. Okay, hold on to that one. Hold on to that one. Yes, I would say yes, it is in the same vein that RoboCop is. Now we just got to try and be better. That's what we have to. But actually, I would say Terminator 2 is a better representation of science fiction than Terminator 1.
Okay.
I'd say Terminator 1's a better representation of horror and science fiction combination. So,
okay.
Now, if we call it science fiction because humans exist in the planet, then I can see that I can see that being the argument for science fiction, right? Because humans set the basis of humanity that add the science and the fiction that kind of interplay. So if you have a movie like Cars or Robots where there are no humans, right? Is that a science fiction movie or is it just a movie based on their world?
That's fair.
So like Cars to me would be maybe a romantic comedy or a buddy film or even a sports film. You can call it a sports film. It's a fantastic sports story. That movie really has a lot of elements.
So does that mean that Maximum Overdrive is a sci-fi horror?
I would argue yes, because it was aliens.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just like The Thing. It's a horror movie, but it's science fiction for sure. Mm-hmm. This is not what I had in mind, but I like it. Because I think you can make arguments. Like I said, Star Wars, I would argue, is more fantasy than science fiction, but it is science fiction,
right?
And that's because, again, there's a human element. There's a human component that is wielding the science, and of course they've tried to scientifically somewhat explain the Force. It didn't work so well, wasn't so great, but yeah, whatever. So this science fiction talk is good, but RoboCop, man, you're a maniac.
Best action film, I know.
My head might explode. So would you classify The Rock as a science fiction film? I would classify it more as an action film for sure. But where do we draw the line, especially because The Rock, it's like a sarin gas or whatever, right? That can like melt your skin, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like those green balls that the I don't know why balls made me laugh, but it did. Jesus Christ, I'm 14. Why am I laughing so hard?
I don't know, but that's what I mean.
That made me laugh so hard.
That's why I think there should be parameters, like how much of a movie before it classifies that genre. Do we say it needs to be 50%, 20%? You know, where is
but
it?
even then, like, where does it? Because, like, okay, so now Speed is technically then, if you count that the gas and like the fact that he is a scientist, he has to go in there and manually take apart the missiles, take out the gas to make his first protected. That adds a science fiction element to it for me. Whereas, but I think most people would argue like, well, Speed, well, you know, he makes bombs and he does all this, so like there's a science element to that too. But like that's where I want to see where the line ends. Like where do we just be like, all right, we're not putting it in the science fiction section. Come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like how much science needs to be in it for the fiction to fit? That's got to be the question, right? I think.
Right.
I don't know. You tell me. This is when I literally like, I know a lot of times we're sitting here talking, maybe we're talking about filmmaking, we're talking about something else, and like I have answers, but this is the times where we don't have answers, and I love this types of conversation where it's like, I want to like, to me, Escape from New York is a science fiction movie. I would even argue that it's more science fiction than action. Go back, like there's a lot of action to it,
right? But
there's way more like scenes of drama or you know, like there's comparatively to the and more stunts than action, I would say, which we're getting into, which one of our big topics.
Then you got Demolition Man, and that's more science. Okay, I can see where you're at.
So that's where we got to keep it. We got to keep the line. Where does the line stay? Where do we go with it? You know what I mean?
And I wonder if that is a line almost more of a personal bias, to where if someone doesn't watch, let's say, any just sci-fi movies, period, where they might constitute something that barely has any science fiction elements in it, and they're like, nah, that's 100%, you know, a sci-fi movie, as opposed to someone that might be their main go-to genre, where they're like, well, there's a little bit in there, but not, you know, they might say something we consider a sci-fi action. Oh no, that's just an action, or vice versa.
Well, you know, it's funny. Frankenstein was widely considered for the longest time, even in the beginning, a science fiction novel, not a horror novel. And Mary Shelley, both beloved in the horror genre because it is a horror novel, but it's horror science fiction. And she was also very revered in science fiction world for what she wrote. Frankenstein's an amazing addition to science fiction.
See, and I never even thought of it as outside of horror until you just said that. Then I'm like, no, you're right. Messing with lightning and all that.
And also, I think it has to come down a lot of times to theme. Man versus God. You know, man trying to play God is a big theme in science fiction, right? Yes. So, and Jurassic Park. Right there. Yeah. Like that to me is way more of a science fiction film than it is a horror film.
Now, what about, because I feel like it's this one at least is almost on the cusp, like Limitless. Like, I mean, it is a pill that enhances the human mind, but
emphasis on fiction.
Okay.
And definitely hard emphasis on fiction. But yes, I would state that. And again, because it's about that, you know, it's not like, it's not a love story where he takes a pill and it makes him a better person and like he's trying to do more and he's winning over the woman he loves or whatever. He's like, everything is surrounding him being the one with this ability. So like I could see that more stated as a science fiction movie than anything else, for sure. Yeah. Like I think so Limitless, I could see stuff like that, but it's weird because there's so many different elements. I mean, I don't think we as movie fans have not picked apart, but like done the service for science fiction that we have as horror fans. Horror fans and almost I almost kind of like that, because now I'm kind of talking myself into it, because you think about it, horror fans have to separate everything, and it feels like sometimes it feels like they have to separate everything because nobody can agree on like what's the best in this, what's the best in that, so it's like we're breaking it down even more so we can shine a light on all these different movies, right? Where science fiction, I don't feel like needs to do that. Like, you love what you love, you can make your lists, you can do this, but you really don't need to separate it by genre.
So with that being stated, would you say that probably the horror community is most snobbish of all the genre communities as far as movies go? No. Okay, that's it.
I would make a hard argument for number 2. And that's, again, Scene Snobs. So it's not like I'm shitting on anyone. Like, I get it. And we all have that. We have our personal biases of movies and our tastes and things like that. What made us feel something at what time, and why we argue so hard for those things. So snob, I mean, I give it snob because I think snob gets a bad rap, but it doesn't have to. So that's why we love it. Don't be the asshole snobs, but they're definitely not number 1.
Gotcha.
I mean, you got to go with the film festival crowd. Although the film festival crowd in recent years have come together, and like the last 15 years have really gotten awesome, because film festivals have lightened up a lot in what they've, and I'm not talking about all film festivals. I think we all know what kind of film festivals I'm talking about.
Right.
And that base can be very snobbish towards any other genre.
Mm-hmm.
So all has a place. I don't have a problem with any of it, but it can be, the horror community though is I think the toughest on their genre. I will say that.
Yeah.
But whereas, like I was saying with the number 1 spot, they're tougher on everybody else.
I got you, and that's fair.
But the horror community argues all the time, and even then they're fractured in many ways. Mm-hmm. Like factioning off and things like this, where it's funny enough, like I wasn't even planning on talking about horror, but I'll get into it. And before I do, let's talk about Carolina Fear Fest.
Ooh,
that's right. Carolina Fear Fest, everybody, as you know, we are media partners with them, the Scene Snobs, so we're going to be there. It's Memorial Day weekend, so come check it out. And May 17th, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're doing Casters for a Cause charity script read. Make sure you join in, hang out, have fun. Sponsored by Carolina Fear Fest. All proceeds go to the charity of choice by Carolina Fear Fest, Haunters Against Hate. Great organization, helping LGBTQI plus community members, especially the youth. And that is a great thing. And so, yeah, we're going to be reading Scream. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff. And we have some cool antics in store for this one. Donations are live now. You can go down in the links. If you go down to the Linktree, our donation page on GoFundMe, all proceeds go directly to them after being processed by, of course, GoFundMe. So that's where we're at. I'm excited, though. I'm so stoked. And then the very next weekend, we'll be at Carolina Fear Fest. So we're going to have a really good time. We're going to be hanging out. So hopefully you can get your tickets, come out, celebrating 5 years of Fear. Tons of stuff going on. I'm going to be hosting a ton of panels. Paul and I are going to be doing tons of stuff with live streams. It's going to be great. So if you can't be there, hopefully you can. There's tickets available. But if you can't be there, join us in the live stream. Talk to us, hang out, have fun. Let's get into it. Paul,
Mick.
I want to talk to you a little bit tonight. I saw something pretty scary earlier.
Oh no.
Yeah. I saw a giant nipple.
You sure did.
It was very frightening. And it was very frightening because it made me feel things.
Yeah, it did. Another half of you must have been confused.
Very confused. Trevor's here. What's up, Trevor? How you doing, bud? I know he's throwing up the devil horns, but I always give it's my old surfing ways.
And just to premise that, you guys, I shaved my head today, and we were in the middle of the lab, so I didn't want to interrupt, so I was doing 2 things at once, and yeah, he just got full nipple. It
was so close. It was almost in my mouth. All the way from North Carolina.
Not chocolate milk, you guys.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. So like what I was saying with the horror community, though, I do want to finish off on that because I know I talked about Carolina Fear Fest and I said I would. Horror community, the ironic thing about like kind of how it's been factioned off a bit and how it works and how divided a lot of times it can be is that horror is a representation of being welcoming of all things. Yeah. You know, like that was almost like what drew everybody to the horror in the first place. So it's yeah, so hopefully we can all come back together. We need to stop dividing. Be like science fiction films. Be like RoboCop. Be like RoboCop. I think we have new merch coming.
Oh man. Yes.
Just give me a picture of me in a tinfoil RoboCop helmet that I make. And it's like,
perfect.
be like RoboCop. BDS eyes.
And I will say, just for anyone that's on the fence about Carolina Fear Fest, I do feel that con, absolutely in particular, is the most welcoming. If you just talk to someone, you sit next to a stranger at a panel. I've never had it where I lean over and ask them a question, or just casually chat with them, that anyone seemed hesitant or seemed very put off by anything. So even if you got to come alone, I think you'll make a friend, especially if you're trying to put yourself out there like that. If you just want to keep reserved to yourself, I don't think anyone's going to force themselves around you to speak. But I also feel if you were to show up alone, you're going to leave with some friends that you're going to see for years to come with Carolina Fear Fest. So I encourage anyone to come.
And also join the Discord. We have a channel for Carolina Fear Fest. You can meet other people. They can give you tips. They can tell you where to go. They've been going for pretty much all the years. So go check them out. Do that. I often maintain, get in groups with people. I'm not saying you have to meet with anybody. And I'm definitely not advocating for, me personally, if you've never met somebody before and you meet them, whether it's in a Discord or anywhere else, you don't know. And I can't personally vouch for everybody.
No.
I wouldn't even vouch for fucking nipples over here. Again, I use that term correct. I use that word correct. So, whatever. I'm working on it. It's not gonna be perfect. So what I would say is meet at the con, where there's people, and then you get to know each other and stuff like that. We're all adults here and we can all make decisions based on but safely, and nobody hey, meet us here, meet us there. But you're gonna see them. People are staying a lot in the same hotel. They're all gonna be there. So it's just gonna be a really good time. Make friends. I'll be all around doing stuff, but find a volunteer. They'll help you out too. Volunteers are amazing at Carolina Fear Fest.
Yes, they are.
They're brilliant. I was actually glad to snag Paul up because I thought he was going to end up being a volunteer.
Yes.
But I stole him. I stole him, and then he said something about RoboCop. Now he's out. Speaking of RoboCop, I love the stunts in that movie.
That was I like the segue. All right.
Bringing it back to the old school. We didn't even get to, so we'll do the urban legends, the kids' urban legends next week. But
okay.
I do like that one. All right. I want to go over our quick top 5 of stunts before we get into talking about the Fall Guy and Boy Kills World. All right. What's number 5 on your stunt list, Paul?
So number 5 is a compilation of a franchise put together, in my opinion, and I hope you don't take offense to it, but I said the Jackass franchise.
Are you kidding me?
What? Look,
that's the worst kind of stunts.
Number 5. It still counts. They're hilarious. They got hurt real bad.
You're not supposed to in stunts. A stuntman is going to drive his car at you to run you over, but you're going to be perfectly fine afterwards because he's a professional.
And they professionally got hurt. It counts. It's my number 5. It's not my number 1, Mick.
Paul, you're the voice of a younger generation. I love it.
I guess I don't speak for y'all. I'm so sorry. They hate me.
The poor stuntmen out there who deserve to get Oscars, who deserve more recognition. Stunt persons, by the way, stunt persons. I'm correct. I'm sorry. Stunt persons, because everybody can go out and try and be a stunt person. And they do brilliant work and they deserve all the accolades. Here's the thing. Their job is to make the stunts, make the unbelievable things that we don't believe can ever happen. And they do that every single day. And you chose literally, I can't even say a bunch of jackasses because that's literally the name of their thing, who purposely are trying to hurt themselves and would probably all sit here and tell you, why would you ever pick this as one of your top 5 stunt movies? Because I could never do it.
It's unbunbelievable, Mick. It's unbelievable that they do this.
That Paul's like, I didn't get the assignment today.
Are you kidding me?
Paul's like, what are the 5 stunts I can think of at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday night?
Not even true. Not even true.
Your RoboCop theory sucks. I'm picking on you. In the horror community, we all have a story about our obsession. This bonds us. It has helped many people out in the darkest points of their lives. I can emphasize with that. Absolutely. And it is. You're absolutely right. But the horror community can also be a very divided. And I hope we can all just come together. It's a massive representation of Paul's inner workings in his mind, because he's clearly two people. If he thinks that the best stunts, I love it. The Indie Escape Network says, talk to Kane Hodder about if stunts should be a category at the award show. To cheer your ear off about it. And he'd probably be 100% right, unless for some reason he disagrees, which I don't think he should. He had the record for the longest burn at one point. And that was on Prison. Good movie, by the way. Viggo Mortensen stars in it. And actually my old boss was in that movie. Larry Flash Jenkins, and so I do have a special place in my heart for that movie. So go watch that. That's a fun one. But yeah, they absolutely deserve the accolades and all the acclaim, and but the stars don't want it. That was what it was for the longest time. You lose the illusion that these stars they're men and they're this and they're so, like, they wouldn't let the stunt operators, or the stunt coordinators and the operators and everybody else. I don't want to say men, stunt men, but stunt persons have any of the credit. Look at Tom Cruise. They even poked at him in that movie, in The Fall Guy. But I believe Just Cause. Like, I'm not saying it's not awesome that he goes out and learns how to do these stunts, but he has also gotten hurt. He also takes big challenges. He also, if he dies or gets seriously injured for life, it's going to be bad, and like these stunt operators who are out there, and let's face facts, he doesn't do all his own stunts. I don't care what anybody says. I want to be on set. No, you can do Mission Impossible, because there are some amazing stunts. I'm not taking anything away from the stunt teams. I'm taking away from the fact that they're not giving the stunt teams their proper due. And what bothers me even more now is the Fall Guy goes and we'll get into this during the reviews, but gives proper respect to the stunt team, and nobody goes and sees the fucking thing, even though they've been complaining that no movies have been coming out that are interesting. And that was actually one that was, we'll get into it anyway. My number 5
Yep.
My number 5 is Singing in the Rain, Donald O'Connor. If he sings Make 'Em Laugh. Now, if anybody's seen Singing in the Rain, it's a very stunt-heavy number. He's running up walls, doing flips, bouncing through, jumping through walls. Like, it's a lot. It's a fantastic scene. Everybody should go check it out. I would show you or play it for you here, but I'll get hit on our stuff. So all I say is go check that out. It is 1,000% a stunt-heavy scene, and it is fantastic. And it's done to a musical number, so I love it. What's your number 4, bub?
Number 4 is Baby Driver.
Oh my God, that's my number 4 too.
Yes.
That opening scene, right?
Yep. That car chase. That
car chase was, and I had to have one, and it was either going to be that one, the one in there's so many, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Right.
I mean, you can name any of the Fast movies, but I purposely left them off, because not to disrespect the stunt team or what they do, but like, which one do you choose from? They're all the same goddamn movie. Like, and we're picking movies, we're not picking stunts. And it's as good as they are, they're not all the best stunt movies, in my opinion. Like, there's others that, are true, that just had better stunts. And also, we're going throughout time. It's hard.
Yeah.
What was iconic in a stunt? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was thoroughly impressed with the driving and just seeing how they actually did it with the driver on top while they're inside. And it kind of blew my mind, because that was the first time I'd really watched behind the scenes and was like, that's insane.
Yeah, they killed it.
Kudos to them.
100% agree. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is John Wick number 1.
Which scene?
The scene with the car, the first car chase. Or like, first car chase in John Wick 1.
Okay.
Where he's coming through and then he's just whipping around in there.
I want to go back and argue something on your list.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
I think you should take Jackass off. And here's where I'm going to give Jackass its respect.
Okay.
For movie stunts,
okay,
I don't think it fits.
Okay.
To me, they're just filmed daredevils.
Okay. Okay.
And daredevils that get my respect.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's almost like going into professional wrestling and really trying to hurt somebody. That's not what the point is. That may be the illusion, the story that they sell. And Daredevil's the same way. Like, we're going to make the stunts. Yes, they may get hurt, but they go through it. And that's what we're watching. And we have a lot of respect for all that. But for me, in this instance, like, that's not stunts, though. To me, stunts are, you have to come out the other side. And even if you don't, and there's accidents and stuff happens, fine. But your main goal is always to come out the other side. Everybody's okay. Mm-hmm. That's why you can keep it on your list. I can't, but I had to at least share my opinion, because this is literally the place. Like, if anybody's like, why are you sharing your opinion? Because this is literally the place I'm allowed to. Like, I have all provocation to share my opinions right here. Like, I'm not coming on your show. I'm not saying this. Like, I'm not going to your house. I'm allowed to say my opinion right here. So that's why, to me, it's not a stunt movie. It is a Daredevil. Which, ironically, Evel Knievel made movies back in the day, and I would consider his moves in those movies stunts, not Daredevil. Anyway, I'm all over the place, and this is where I drive Paul crazy. But
so what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Ong Bak, Tony Jaa. Great, fantastic film. The entire film is no CGI. And actually, they both know stunt team, and it's only Tony Jaa. But, again, much respect to stunt teams. But he's doing the stunts in it, and it was fantastic. I thought he did such a great job. What is your number 2?
My number 2, you're going to laugh. It's Exorcist, and it's the exorcism scene in the room.
See, I hate that choice for this reason only.
Damn it.
Is because she got hurt. And again, I still maintain a good stunt should leave a person not getting hurt. But again, that is my opinion. So anybody, so Paul and anybody who's listening, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you my opinion. And I have to keep emphasizing that because I feel like I've had people be like, well, I just think you're pushy. And I'm just like, I am on my show. And maybe in most group chats. But no, so because she got hurt, but it is a cool stunt. But I would argue, and you know what we like to do, our Scene Snob style is this: if we don't like something or we call something out, we have to recommend something in its place, right? So because I'm calling out your list and I feel bad, and you are able to call out my list if you like, but you'd be wrong, is I had to. Go check out an Evel Knievel movie for Jackass. Although you should watch Jackass. Jackass is fun. Just so everybody knows, they're fun movies. So not wrong with him on this. They're just, it's crazy. And what was the other thing you said? You said The Exorcist, which again, great movie. Go check it out. But if you want to see a great stunt where nobody got hurt, but it was very similar and sort of a play on it, Evil Dead 2. Was it the window scene? Oh no, it was Evil Dead 1 with the window scene.
I get what you. Yep.
What they built this whole like seesaw system to lift her up and have her dance there. It's really, if you read Bruce Campbell's book, it's fantastically done, and it was all like indie style. So no budget or anything. So it's very cool. Eileen Dietz, was she in that? The majority of the stunts in The Exorcist. Why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden? My apologies. So Eileen Dietz, was she in that?
I believe Joe. And Joe, I'm sorry, this might be the first time you're watching.
No, I'm not doubting him. I'm just trying to think.
No.
It's not a matter of doubt or anything. I was just like, I'm trying to replace her in that movie. Or do you mean Ellen Burstyn? Sorry, this is just how my brain works, everybody. Like, I see something, I'm like, does that puzzle piece fit there? But ironically, when I'm just doing puzzles, I'm perfectly fine with pounding those pieces in there so I don't have to deal with them anymore. She was the demon. She was the demon's face. Did she do the crawl backwards? Because it just said she's uncredited as demon's face. I don't know. Sorry, my brain works not weird ways. Did we say your number 2? You said Exorcist?
We're on you now. Yeah. That was number 3.
My number 2 is the opening to Raiders of the Lost Ark 2. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh.
That's my number 2.
Okay.
But seriously, is RoboCop a sci-fi? We already went through that. You gotta go and watch the first part of this episode. You're late.
You already know this, Jason.
Jason, you know what it is, and Paul's back on board. Whether he is or not, I'm saying he's back. RoboCop is a sci-fi movie. New merch. It's coming. Anyway, but it's gonna be cool because it's gonna have my face in aluminum foil. That's my number 2, though. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That opening scene. That right there made me a huge fan of just stunts. That Stagecoach was a great one. I do believe that deserves honorable mention. Yakima Canute or something like that is his name. He was like one of the early, I think he was one of the very, very early stunt coordinators. Read a few books about him, I read a book and a few magazine articles about him, and he just he was famously in Stagecoach, when he's being dragged by the horses and then he lets go, and then the stagecoach runs and the horses run over him, and he's fine at the end. He was John Wayne's stunt double, I believe. So yeah. So I wanted to give that. I don't think she did. What did she do? Because it was the stunts was actually what's her name?
Main
Linda
actress.
Blair.
I just forgot her name.
Linda Blair, yeah, because she got injured. Like that almost broke her back. Ellen Dietz was already in like her 60s, I think, when she started. Because she was an actor in like the 40s, 30s, 40s. So I'm not sure like which stunt she, but I know like if it was her face, that's pretty. Or was no, I'm thinking of the wrong one. Not Ellen Dietz. Ellen Dietz wasn't one. She was the voice. I just did. What's her name? He's right about Ellen Dietz. But did she do? I know Linda Blair did the one he's talking about with the thing. I mean, I don't know what other stunts. I mean, I guess walking up and down the stairs. I know that wasn't Linda Blair. I'm just trying to think of the stunts in that movie. See, you're so polarizing, Paul. This is your problem. You have to pick a. I say go. All right. This is why I'm firing you from the Scene Snobs tonight. I say pick a stunts movie, and you've picked Jackass and The Exorcist. You've put no thought into this.
What do you mean? They count as stunts in my mind. This is how my mind works. Welcome to my world.
Yeah. No. So,
well, my number
one, because I swear to God,
this is my number two. My number two is The Fall Guy, and it's going to be the scene when they're hanging out in that. I don't know what you call like the half dumpster scene. They're getting dragged around and they have that fight scene one-on-one.
That was really good.
I wouldn't say quite my favorite scene, but it was one of my favorite scenes from The Fall Guy. So I want to make sure to add that, especially since we're going to talk about it tonight.
Yeah, not wrong.
Well, I'm going to go cry now. So see you later.
Wow. No. I'm just kidding. But well, that's cool. That's a cool choice. For me, my top stunt is Fury Road. That whole sequence.
Ooh, okay.
That whole sequence to me. And I mean, listen, the one in Mad Max is great. Road Warrior, Thunderdome. I don't mind the movie as much, but like it's just not. So yeah, that Fury Road movie, and I'm so excited for Furiosa, whether you hate it or not. I can tell in your face that you hate it. But like it's just that whole thing was fantastic. And stunt wise, think about everything they had going in that all at once, and a lot of it practical. That's insane. How did more people not die on that set? I want to know who George Miller sold his soul to be like, I want to. He went to the devil and was just like, listen, I want to make these movies about the apocalypse, but they're like road movies where they're crazy and violent. And I want to make them as real as possible, but I don't want anyone to die. And he's like, okay, so you want them to be hits? No, I don't care. I just don't want anyone to die, because then I can keep making them. That's it. And that's how he sold us all. True story. So it's great when Jason watches. This is why you guys get fired. Paul, you should have chosen
God bless it. No, I'm glad I didn't.
This is why. All right. I'm ending.
Maybe you'll like my number one. Maybe that'll redeem it. It probably won't, but maybe.
Oh yeah.
My number one is The Great Train Robbery, 1903.
Why?
Just a fire. Just because. I mean, you think about like all the regulations we have now, right? So they try to make sure you're absolutely safe, but in 1903 they didn't have safety features like that. It was kind of like at your own risk, like just trying things out. You know, there weren't all these extra laws in place. So for a lot of those earlier movies, when I see stunt guys, I'm amazed, because I'm like, you know, you really do have a huge chance of possibly dying or crippling yourself, and it's one of the first ones. So pay credit where credit's due. Okay,
very cool. I love it. I mean, it's you love your movies, so I'm not gonna bash on that. And it was stunts, and it's beginning. Yeah. So I mean, I understand the nostalgia of it. Yeah. Again, why you would choose the and to Joe who's watching, I did just read up on Ellen Dietz. Yes, okay, cool. I did not know. I knew it wasn't Linda Blair who did the crucifix scene. So it's cool. I didn't know it was her because she was old enough to pull that off. I knew it wasn't Linda Blair. I just didn't know who it was. So that's cool that you point that out. I appreciate it, because that's information I'm glad to learn. And it looks like she did the fist fight with Dr. Karras. Right. Specifically, I was only going by the stunt he was talking about, and because the fist fight I didn't consider a stunt, but that is awesome. It is a lot of stuff. The crucifix definitely makes sense for sure. But yeah, I was more speaking to the bed where ironically they didn't have her in that, and she was doing the stunts, but they break the little girls like
right. Gotta love the movie industry.
So, Eileen, what did you really do? Like, let's be real.
That's so rude.
You're not a very good stunt stand-in. All right, everybody. Speaking of stunts, let's review these. We're going to talk about The Fall Guy and Boy Kills World, which are two very stunt-heavy movies. And
Yes,
we're going to have a good time doing it. But we're going to start with Boy Kills World. I see
Awesome.
a trend that goes on because we tend to talk about the movie we liked more, and I go by our ratings. The movie that we liked more, we tend to talk about more. So I'll always save those for second. But yeah, Boy Kills World, man. First off, I went into this. I didn't care to see it. Not that I was like I'm against any of the thing like this being made. They just usually don't speak to me. The ultra violent stuff like that, and it's not that I'm against it. It's not that I think it's wrong. My problem is the ultra violent movies tend to like forego a lot in terms of story. And I'm a story cuck. I will let a story fuck my story wife all day long. And I will watch its giant story dick and its long story where I really went out the window with the good stuff here. I love a story, and that should first and foremost be in a movie. So I get tired when a lot of stuff doesn't have it. And revenge tales, not saying there's not some great revenge tale movies. I will never say that. There are some amazing revenge tale movies, and people should watch them. But there is an overabundance of revenge. I would say that revenge movies are probably one of the highest like subgenres that are made. And if you count the 1970s, that's why. Because everything was revenge. So my long soliloquy here is coming to an end, I promise. But I will say this. This one was done right. I went in not wanting to see it, not really thinking I'd be up for it, not wanting to bash it or anything. I look for the good in everything that I can. And then I watched it and I was like, that was one of the most solid revenge movies, a twist that actually worked, that wasn't overblown or you needed to, it could have been ruined for you. If somebody tells you, you can still enjoy this movie, which I like. And just the acting and everything else was just truly fantastic. The comedy was on point and it really played well. That being said, Paul, what'd you think about this movie?
Let me tell you why this movie sucked. No.
Yeah, right.
So I was really impressed by Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Because I think it takes a lot of actual acting to not say a single line and be able to portray the emotions that are going on. So I was watching him like a hawk, you know, because I get you have got the cool voice going that's, you know, internally there, but his emotions and his mannerisms matched exactly what was being said. So kudos to him for making it absolutely believable, like he was having those exact thoughts. That aside, I kind of went in the same, thinking that, you know, I'm just seeing it just because I can. And I was kind of blown away. I think for anyone that's absolutely in love with John Wick and loves the action, I think this is one that isn't going to live quite up to that hysteria, but I think it's a good step down. So I think it's a good wine to a whiskey lover, if that makes sense. Like, I think this one will still satisfy your killing needs and the blood and all the battles, but it's not over the top or almost, well, not almost, but just unrealistic. I think this one tones it down a little bit. And like you said, the story was great. I didn't expect a twist. I didn't go in there expecting anything more than just a bunch of killing. So when the twist happened, it was like, oh, I like this. And like you said, it fit perfect. It's a great comedy. I think coming off of Monkey Man, I was very satisfied with this. So I'm very happy to see what other action type movies are going to come out, because these two have kind of set the bar.
My top action films so far this year are Roadhouse, Boy Kills World, The Fall Guy, and what did you just say? What was
Monkey Man.
Monkey Man. Sorry, I've drawn a blank. Monkey Man was fantastic. Again, another great revenge tale. We got two great revenge tales, and we got two great action films based on like haunted heroes that just, and those are like key themes in action films. So we got 4 action films this year alone that I think rival Marvel and what they're putting out.
Yes.
You know, we got 4 action films that rival almost every action film coming out. I think these 4 action films are better than any of the fast movies, you know, stuff like that, because they're great stories. They're great characters. This is stuff we've been asking Hollywood for.
Yes.
And now we're getting it. And if you wanted to add another like good action film, which is more horror, Late Night with the Devil was pretty good in that, but it's not an intense action film. But there's others coming out, and I was mad that people didn't go see The Fall Guy. I really was. I was bothered. I hope they go see it this weekend. We're also getting Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so like that's another, I'm sure, to be a good action film, and I love it. I want to keep it up. I want these action films to come out that have heart, that have great characters, that have good chemistry with everyone. And this is one that did really well, and Jessica Roth deserves a really good, big shout out. She's from Happy Death Day. She's in this movie, plays a great character as well.
Yes,
but overall this was a good one, and I guess we can give our ratings for this. I actually gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and you gave it a 3 out of 5, which still both great ratings. I was actually surprised I was a little more than this, but
I'm a little more judgy with actions, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's fine. I get that, and so I get where you're coming from. Like me, I think I do. There's a soft spot, especially action movies like this remind me a lot of what we got in the 90s and stuff like that. Better stories, better acting, all this stuff, but it had that. It doesn't have to be an intricate storyline. Like, I don't need the simplified John Wick, his dog died so he goes on a tear.
Right.
I like Boy Kills World, where kid's entire family is murdered in front of him, and he spends the entire life training to get back to them, and it's really well done. It was really well done. So that's why I gave it a 3.5. I think everybody should check it out. But the movie I think everybody should go see is The Fall Guy. That's right.
Yes.
Let's get into it. So The Fall Guy is basically it is a remake of the TV show from 1980 starring Lee Majors, where he played a stuntman, but it was also, I think, a bounty hunter or a private eye who would go out and like get into different cases and stuff like that. In the 70s, everybody was either a private eye or a bounty hunter or something. That means they could be cops too in those days, in those old TV shows. So this one follows Ryan Gosling as a stuntman who has to go and find the major star of the film, or the woman he loves who's directing the film is going to lose her chance at her first time directing. So him being a very lovelorn type and really wants to just help her out, make sure her film is working, goes to great lengths using his stunt prowess to go and try and find the star and make this happen for him. And a lot of twists and turns ensue. It's not a very violent movie, but it is a very stunt heavy movie. And there's a lot of fun comedy, heart, and action to it. And I absolutely loved it. So Paul, what you got for me?
So I absolutely loved it as well. I expected it to be about as good as it was. I mean, I think it kind of went above what I expected walking in. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. They made it very believable that, he was awestruck over her. And at the same time, she was too, even though she kind of acted like she didn't, later on in the movie, but then came back around. The stunts I thought were fun, because it was cool seeing him use stunts in practical battles. Like, he wasn't necessarily hitting to hurt them, I guess at first it seemed like, but he was more deflecting it, just playing more of the stunt guy as far as that went. So I thought Gosling, did a great job. The stunts are awesome. They're very beautiful. They're fun to watch. It's even fun when they're explaining the stunts he's portraying to do in the movies, and you get to see them go off. And, for me as a film geek, it was fun hearing, all right, pyrotechnic, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, go on, 1, 2. A lot of those scenes were a lot of fun for me. I was very sad to see how little it did make opening weekend. I think it should have made a lot more. Kind of like Mick said, like, I hope more people go to see it so that they know that we want movies like this. Because I think this is a perfect date movie. If you have someone that's like, I don't like action, I only like rom-coms. I think this is enough of a rom-com-ish to where you could get away enjoying a movie, and your significant other isn't going to hate you for dragging her to.
Yeah, there's one thing they did in this movie that they got right about film sets that I love, is there's actually people on there quoting movies or talking about movies, or actually film fans connecting with other film fans to get through their shoot and have a good time. I think this is a really well done movie. This is how you do it when you want to praise people in Hollywood. Get it right. Academy Awards. Nobody wants to see The Fall Guy either, but you should. This is actually a well done movie. This to me, nobody's going to see this because of the bullshit Academy Award movies where it's about filmmaking, but let's blow smoke up everybody's ass about how much of the actions are they're heroes. Actors are heroes. so are the producers and the directors, and like it's just fluff that like not even actors, directors like really want to. They don't want to think like that. Most time they want to be considered human, but then they do buy into the fluff when it comes to the Academy Awards. So like I know I mock a lot, but seriously, like you have movies about filmmaking that don't work. Like Bowfinger to me is a great movie about film. It doesn't diminish the filmmaking. It doesn't diminish the below the line crew. It pokes fun at different things, different elements when you're an indie filmmaker. But then to come back to like The Fall Guy, which is to me is like it doesn't diminish the filmmaking, it doesn't take away. If anything, it praises the below the line crew, especially the stunt team. The AD was a little too hardcore. Like I don't know I've ever worked with an AD. I've worked with intense ADs before. I've had my friend Mel isn't intense, but like she's a tough AD, but I've never seen her like lose her cool like that,
Right.
And like there's tons of other ADs I've worked with where actually most of the ones like they can be very cordial, they can be very polite, and they're always thanking, and that's a great AD. But the one who's just like losing his shit, I was like that's a little unbelievable, but nobody knows that, so it's like embellished or whatever. And I know they're trying to focus more on the stunt team, but I got the joke, I got what it was. I've never actually seen that, but I know it's exaggerated in some movies, so whatever. Most of this was, and that's okay with me because like the idea of space alien and cowboy, the movie is called Space Alien and Cowboy, or Alien and Space Cowboy or some shit. It was so stupid, but like that portion of it, I loved it though, and that's because the film wasn't the important thing. The important thing was the crew and what we were trying to do and the story above all. So that's why I love this movie, and I had such a fun time. I watched it twice now. I watched it as a screener, and I watched it as in the theaters. I want to go and make sure I bought a ticket to do that. So I did support. I hope everybody goes out and supports. This would be a great date movie. It's warm out. It's nice. You get to see Ryan Gosling being funny, cute, sexy. You get to see Emily Blunt being freaking adorable the entire time and badass. Winston Duke is cool as hell. Who, by the way, Hollywood, get on it. Remake Mr. Mom with Winston Duke as the character. I think he'd be perfect for that. I've been saying that since Get Out. Not Get Out. Us.
Yeah.
In his character as the dad, because I was like, he'd make an awesome Mr. Mom.
He would.
He can play comedy really well, but he's very like he can also play strong. Yeah. So the Fall Guy, 2 thumbs up based on the movie, based on Stunts. Absolutely loved it. But our actual rating, we both gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So that's a big praise. Like it's fun all the way through. I don't want to give away too much. There's a lot of twists in it, but it's not bad. All of them were kind of like, all right, I see it. Yeah, that works. Add some more juice in here. This is an action film. I'm ready for it.
Where's the juice?
Where's the juice? Wow, not here anymore, I guess. But anyway, let's talk about Mick's movie pick from 1968. That's right, everybody. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I decided to go with The Great Planet of the Apes. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go watch this movie. It's fantastic. I'm not going to tell you much more on it because tomorrow we will have an all-new Snobs Film History, actually at midnight, Snobs Film History Classic Film Review. That will be out. Go check it out. We're all set for it. The Planet of the Apes. It's so much fun. Great movie. Lots of information. You guys should check this out if you haven't. And especially check this one out if you're going to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It takes place after, but you have a lot of fun. Paul, what do you think about Planet of the Apes before you're going?
I always enjoyed him. I love Charleston Heston. So, I mean, I grew up watching the original, I think it's 4 or 5 Planet of the Apes.
That TV series too.
Because when I wanted to go see the one with Marky Mark, my parents were like, no. You got to watch the originals first and then watch that. So I watched that first. And then I didn't even like the Marky Mark one as a kid. Sorry, Mark Wahlberg. But
we're not upset about that. That's okay. We can deal as we need to deal.
But I enjoy them because the acting is great. The makeup looks awesome. So I think, especially as a movie lover, I think if you go back, you're going to appreciate the 1968 makeup, acting, the script. I think it's just as good as it is now, which speaks a lot to the 1968 Planet of the Apes.
Definitely agree. And the cool part about the new movies are they work as prequels to the original. So it all kind of plays out. You can all enjoy it. I still love the visual effects that happen. Well, I should say special effects, a lot of practical, the makeup and stuff. So far ahead of its time. Rod Serling giving us that perfect ending to the movie. It was absolutely, truly fantastic. Go check it out. But yeah, that is my mixed movie choice. And guys, remember, May 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are doing Scream, Casters for a Cause charity script read. It's going to be a great time. Sponsored by Carolina Fear Fest. Haunters Against Hate is where all the proceeds are going to. Great LGBTQI plus community plus foundation that helps out. It's a nonprofit organization that is trying to help the youths within that community. And I absolutely love it. So we're going to be reading Scream. We're going to be having a good time. We're all going to be there. Make sure you join in and join the Snub Nation. Best way to do that, right here. Join the Discord. Hang out there. Hang out with us. Tell Paul how wrong he is for saying RoboCop is not a sci-fi movie. And if you like the merch, go check out the merch. Embrace Absurdity. We have tons of great stuff going on. We just put up a whole bunch of new designs, especially with our mascots and our new stuff and things like that. So go check it out. And we are going to start using, after CFF is over, we're going to start using our Patreon as our newsletter. So we'll have stuff, but we also have other posts there as well. We do stuff. So like if you really want to keep up to date with Scene Snobs, go join the Patreon. You can join a free tier. Or you can try out one of the other paid tiers that have other perks and stuff like that available. So we appreciate your support. All that money goes back to help this make the best channel that it is. It's not just the Scene Snobs podcast. We have shows like Does It Suck, Snobs Film History, classic film reviews, also Snobs Film History, which is more in depth, like documentaries about like filmmaking and other things within the industry. We have, how many other shows do we have? We have Scary Snobs, Betting Bros. There's a bunch of stuff always coming out. We're always trying to put out more. We're always going to continually try to entertain and do more, but we can't do it without your help. That's why we ask for the support. Patreon is the best way to do that. Checking out our affiliate links if you want to go to our sponsors, that helps us as well. Checking out our merch helps, but if you want to become a monthly supporter of the channel, it all goes back into it, and we appreciate you. So go check out our Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Again, Paul, you want to say anything before we get going?
We love movies, and I'm glad that you guys love movies too. And subscribe and like.
Don't steal my line. You stole my line. That was my sign off.
Damn it. I didn't know it was your new sign. I was trying to be nice.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining. You stole my line, you bastard.
I didn't know you were going to end with it.
Like, for anybody, and we were talking about this in the lab. I'm really not mad. But if anybody were talking about this in the lab, I was like, we were talking about the work that I put in. And I was like, I write this shit. It's not like I'm kidding. Like, I actually go and I write stuff and I like test material. And like, I'm always doing stuff. Like, I'm always testing material. Like if I'm doing some sort of like, stand up or something like that, or going to tell a joke on the show, or I'm going to be on other shows or giving speeches, stuff like that. I always have to test the material to make sure it works. I am testing this new material to see if that works. And the new line is, welcome to the Scene Snobs channel. We love movies and we know you do too. So join the Snob Nation. And then I was going to kick it off by saying, and here you go, join the Snob Nation. But then Paul had to give his own variation of this. And I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Daddy Manhattan is just disappointed at this. Oh, Jesus Christ, where did this go? All right. With that being said, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. The movie thing is true, so join the Snob Nation. Just don't listen to this guy. Until next time, remember to be kind, stay classy, and take care of yourselves. That's important. Bye.